Welcome back to Papertrails. It's your boy. Oh, I even forgot my name there. God damn, it's been that long. It's your boys, Mohammed and Shamaki, and my visuals and Sharkz Polaroid for Inspyre. And we're back again today after it's been a bit of a while, bit of a hiatus from us.
Proper while,
Back here again, Podcast Room Studios to do the third rendition of this episode. So we've actually recorded this episode twice already, and it's failed both times. So third time's the charm. Sharkz was saying he feels a bit rusty, and I was like, bro, we rehearsed this episode twice now.
Now we have, but still, it just feels a bit like.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time the notes that I had, wow.
Yeah.
They were, astronomical.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now it's kind of like more of faded. You know what I mean? But the fragrance is still there.
Yeah, but I feel like our ideas have had time to embed, you know?
Or to marinate.
Yeah. But yeah, welcome back to the podcast. Hope you guys have been good. If you haven't, let us know what's going on. Maybe we'll do some agony aunt activities in the next episode. Send us what your problems are. We'll talk about them in the lens of a book reader. Yeah, we'll treat you like a character in a story. Tell them what you might do next and what page you might be on next.
Different plot lines.
Yeah, that's what we'll do for you. But today we'll be talking about sitcoms. For the third time, our top 5 favorite sitcoms. What makes a good sitcom?
Absolutely.
And why are we even talking about sitcoms? I think we talk about films a lot because we talk about books a lot.
Yeah.
But we do consume a lot of sitcoms, so
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to just kind of talk a bit about the ones that we grew up enjoying, ones that have stuck with us over the years.
Yeah.
And then it'll be good to hear from you guys as well. What kind of sitcoms you guys enjoy, and if you guys agree or disagree with our rankings, tell us why. But I guess you asked me the question last time, what makes a good sitcom?
Yeah.
But I'll ask you the question this time. Go on.
Thank you for that. It would a switcheroo.
Yeah, bro.
No, so I think for me, what makes a very good sitcom, all right, kind of falls into like 3 sort of categories, right? One, I think the main overarching feeling for me is literally feeling.
Yeah.
Which is like how, because I feel like what you said about books and movies and stuff like that we've reviewed, it's kind of like the story is all there.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You can unpack it in different ways, but the Easter eggs in the middle and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whereas I feel like a sitcom is like over layers, over different kind of, over time and stuff like that, where it's more so about how it makes you feel like, okay, I'm going to calm down, I'm just going to relax and watch this, I'm going to, settle down to it, like that kind of like, I don't know, that warm, gooey feeling, I guess, that a good sitcom can
way
give.
to describe it. Go on.
But that's when I enjoy it. That's the.
It can't just be a warm feeling. Why does it have to be gooey?
It's gotta be a warm, gooey feeling. It's gotta be like, yeah, I'm resting now. I'm safe. You know what I mean?
Go on.
Another one falls into also kind of like, I would say, somewhat storyline in terms of like more so good writing rather than just like slapstick. Here it is. Slapstick. Here it is. And the third one, I actually even forgot. I think my third
Family? Community?
family. That was it. Yeah. No,
I feel like it's the environment. You said something.
yeah, it was more like a community of it, like the
Immersion, I think like.
the environment of it all
Like you feel immersed in the environment.
into the thing. Yeah. Like this is a whole different world where now you're just hanging around with these characters. Because I think even if it comes to movies, you see those characters for like maybe once, and then you don't really know them like that. But whereas a sitcom, you're almost like spending time with them every day. If it's a really good one, it feels like, you're in with the jokes, you know what's happening. Here we go. We're being brought into another like episode of like something that they're up to.
Yeah.
You're here for the ride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the type of stuff that I look at and I properly enjoy.
Cool. So for me, I would say the family vibe, that factor of you can tell the charisma and rapport that they have with each other is just incredible. That's what really makes a good sitcom for me, along with the family. Sorry, the immersion vibe. Like you said, it feels really nice to feel like you know the space that they're in. Like you can tell like, oh, this room is here, this room is here. If it's within a house or if it's in a neighborhood, like you can kind of imagine what's going on around the place, and if it's like a bustling environment, like you can just feel like you're there. And then for me, I think the most important things are the relatability. Just the relatability factor. Sometimes you hear those stories where you're like, damn, this is my family. My dad did this the other day, like the same thing. Stuff like that. That makes me feel really immersed as well into the environment even further, and that makes me enjoy it a bit more. And makes me kind of think about my life as well. So I think that relatability factor. And then thirdly, acting and writing, story writing. I feel like it can't be like the writing and acting comes hand in hand in my opinion, because there's all these like shows like The Office, for example, where there's a lot of like fourth wall crossing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like the acting has to be natural enough to coincide with the writing, because if the writing is going in that direction on purpose, where the humor is meant to be like it's kind of taking the mick out of the character, and the character is like kind of thinks he's self-aware, but he's also not. Where that's like common in places like The Office. I'm just thinking about that because for me, I feel like The Office is a bit forced. So we'll talk about that after.
That's ridiculous, yeah. But
I know a lot of people hate on that, but
as they should. Yeah.
For me, acting has to be really natural and not forced, and consistent over seasons. I think that if you're gonna do multiple seasons, you have to keep it consistent. Like otherwise, call it short and have something that you can kind of end with pride. Although I've never written a series, so I know I can imagine how difficult it would be, and I can imagine how difficult it would be to end the series at a good place and not feel like you have to drag it on.
Especially when you feel like, for example, you want to end it after 5, and then the studio comes and says, "Now we need 4 more because it's a hit."
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, what the hell do I come up with that?
Yeah, exactly. Because you might have already written up the end of a story for them, and then you got to come up with something else. So I think the writing is really important, but it goes hand in hand with acting for me. So yeah, those are the kind of things that I would say definitely make a great sitcom for me.
Okay.
And if you lack any of those elements, I feel like that's where you fall down the ranking, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like that's the ingredients.
Absolutely.
Cookbook.
So with that being said, getting to the ranking.
No, let's do your honourable mentions first.
Honourable mentions.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a fair point. I've got The Office is an honourable mention for me, because I personally love The Office.
Yeah.
But I feel like, that's when you said it was forced. I feel like because it's a mockumentary, it's kind of allowed to be a bit more kind of like that is the gag.
Yeah, exactly.
That this guy is doing over the top stuff because he's actually trying to be liked by the people around him.
Yeah, that's his character.
I mean? Yeah, that's his. Yeah. Whereas I feel like there was obviously the UK version, which. With Ricky Gervais. I watched like bits and pieces of it. That one was a bit much.
Some people say they really prefer the UK version.
The UK version is like very proper, like British, like in between is kind of you know what I mean, the comedy. But I feel like the Office had like, I don't know, Steve Carell was amazing. I can't lie, and as Michael, and then obviously the other characters that was around him, Ed Hall and all these other guys. It was like proper like actual comedians that were here like try and use this role and make something from it, you know. But I would say another one that didn't make it that I actually took out was Fleabag.
Yeah.
Because I think it wasn't fair to compare it to all the other ones because it was only 2 seasons. But it was.
Well, does it matter if it's 2 seasons long?
Yeah, I feel like it because it's not.
At the end of the day, did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't as when I thought about it, like as like it was really, really good, but it wasn't like to the standard of the sitcom.
Really?
In my head.
You've had number 1 before.
Nah, I had a number like 3 or 4.
Sure?
Yeah. Number 1 was always I'll reveal what number 1 was.
Yeah, of course.
But it moved out because I don't know, like I feel like the other ones had more of a right. I feel like to stay. Yeah.
When did you make that decision? When did you make that decision?
A couple of weeks ago.
Oh, fair enough. What, you're just randomly thinking about it?
I was thinking about it. Then I was just kind of like, okay, it was 2 seasons. And then on top of that, it was essentially really meant to be 1 season. It was a play that was adapted into a TV show. And then she kind of made up the second season. She went along.
Was it?
And then, but it was, even though the second season was really good, it was just kind of, I was like, okay, this is, I don't know, I have to put it somewhere else.
For the people that haven't watched it, give us a quick summary of Fleabag.
Okay, so it's basically about this this woman who is trying to find some sort of like meaning of life and herself.
Mm-hmm.
So like she's kind of like a bit eccentric and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? To kind of like save face for herself because she's got like a lot of insecurities, dealing with some traumas that like her friends died and all this other kind of stuff. And then to be fair, describing it more would reveal the whole plot line. It's like
Fair
it's
enough.
that kind of concise.
But what makes it good?
But what makes it good is the kind of like life lessons and stuff like that it gives.
Yeah.
Like the analogies of like different people that you come across in life. Because for me, I've been very much fascinated by human psychology for a minute.
Yeah.
In terms of the fact that we could literally describe 6 people that we've all seen. And the fact that we can do that is because we're not that different.
What do you mean?
Like, what that means is basically like all these like different characters that you might see in like a sitcom. They're like, oh, I've seen someone like that before, or I've seen someone like that before. Yeah. For me to write it and you to like, let's say, never have met me as in the writer.
Yeah.
To write someone that you feel like you've seen before.
Yeah.
Shows the fact that the characters around us are literally pretty much the same people, just like different skin tones.
Relatable again.
Huh?
That relatability factor. Again.
It's back to rate, but it's also kind of like I was like, okay, this is like interesting. The fact that we all kind of see people in the same way, if that makes sense. Like this whole thing of mine, I'd have to have a whole proper like long discussion about it. But it was like she tapped into that thing that I was thinking about for a while, and it's like it's a very good way of like. She does this thing of like speaking to the camera.
Yeah.
So she's speaking to you, but also speaking to us at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was gonna give a spoiler, but I don't know. You're not gonna watch it, are you?
I'm not gonna watch it.
Okay, but anyways, if anyone's planning not to watch it, I'll just say the end, right? So basically, otherwise none of this will make sense. It'll just be vague nonsense. But so she's speaking to the camera, speaking to us, speaking to the camera, and then there comes a point where the person that she likes, basically says this cannot be, and then you can feel that sense of like what she's feeling of like that sort of heartbreak, and then when she's like finally like. Because she would tell the camera everything, like how she's feeling. Okay, I'm upset with this thing here. I can't believe this person did. And then the series ends with basically her looking at the camera and then the camera like following her as she goes home. And she kind of like looks back and like shakes her head at the camera to be like, nah, like I don't want you to follow me anymore. And then walks away. And that was like a proper moment of like, okay, cool. We've reached this boundary now between us and her, and like we've kind of come to like the end of the road.
Damn,
I was like, wow, that's a nice way of essentially ending it, because now you've kind of said goodbye to a character in a more personable way than just fade cut black. So I was like, wow, that's a different kind of way of.
Sounds like very interesting and different writing.
No, it is. It is very much different writing.
That's an interesting story. By the way, I just thought about. So we've been overly. I think we're quite an overly positive podcast. Productivity,
static productivity, brother. What are you trying to do here?
You know, in story writing, there's villains.
Yeah.
In story writing, there's villains.
Yeah.
There's people we don't like. And today, I want to be one of those people. I think we're gonna give our top 5 favorite, and then we're gonna start hating. I want to hear the worst shows that people will like after. I want to hear what your most overrated shows are. Yeah. And we're gonna
last honourable mention, I'll say Horrible Histories.
Horrible Histories. Oh,
what's your honourable
mention? So, speaking of The Office UK, there's a random show that I watched over the last couple of years. For some reason, I've rewatched now, called The Job Lot on Netflix. It's just about this bloody job center in Birmingham randomly. Well, the characters are just hilarious. The writing is hilarious, in my opinion. It makes you really feel like you're in the bloody hustle and bustle of a job center, and like you see all the different characters of a job center, which I find interesting now, because you see a lot of shows that are trying to do this thing where they're like, this is a job, like this is a workplace, and we're gonna try and find the funny characters in them. Like there's this one, you know the show Ugly Betty? Yeah. You know, she's in another show now. Like she led on another show, something to do with like a superstore in America. I forgot what it's called. Okay. Like a mall, not a mall, like a Walmart kind of thing, but it's like like a parody of it kind of thing. And that show was so forced; it was unbelievable, innit?
Wow, yeah.
But the job lot, it just feels really natural. Like you're in a job center, you're seeing like the cronies that occupy a job center. You see like there's Karens there, then there's guys that are just.
Is this like scripted, or is it like a mockumentary, or is it actual like people?
It's kind of like The Office, literally, kind of vibe, but it's all scripted, yeah. But the characters are just hilarious, and like, the writing I think is very good, and I think there's only 3 seasons if I can remember correctly, and I think it's paced very well. There's no like slow seasons, and I recommend it, honestly. I think it's quite funny. But yeah, that's one. Second, Community. I think Community is another one where like you hear about, like in the UK. We don't really have community college, you know? Like you kind of hear about it in different films and stuff. Like I feel like growing up, you hear about Americans going to college and stuff, and then the kind of dropouts and stuff that go to community college and stuff like that. So you don't really, but we didn't really get the vibe of it. Like
what
never.
it's about.
What is it? Yeah, we just thought, maybe it's like some kind of like just people doing courses and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Community came, and then obviously the cast they've all grown quite big, and then you got Childish Gambino, who became quite big, Donald Glover. But that kind of really puts you in the hustle and bustle of the community college environment, and you got all the freak shows like Abed. I think I forgot to mention one of my favorite parts of sitcoms. One of my favorite factors is you gotta have a bit of crackhead energy.
Okay.
A bit of crackhead energy, feel good vibes. Yeah. Makes me giggle. Makes me giggle. Absolutely. But I think just having a bit of a freak show in there that just throws things off. They just go off on their little adventures. That really just adds a random, I guess a bit of variety, a bit of spice into the life of the show. So I think that's what I really enjoy, and the Community has a bit of that. Like you even got like the principal is just a freak show in that show. Community, the job lot, and then I was gonna say. I think I was going to say Family Guy, because I feel like we've talked about live action shows. One of my top 5 is going to be another cartoon show, but I think Family Guy is something that a lot of us grew up with, and it's just one of those shows where the comedy attacks everyone, and people get offended, but I think it's only right that it attacks everyone, and like in the spirit of comedy. Obviously, there shouldn't be lines that are crossed, but I think it does do things in fairness. Like nobody's safe, but the writing is actually good, and like the number of jokes that they come up with per episode and the characters that they wrote in is quite mad
and very consistent.
Yeah, and I feel like it's probably like the second biggest cartoon like adult show that has ever come out. Obviously the first one is in my top 5. So that's one of my honourable mentions.
Absolutely.
Let's get into top 5.
No, I thought you were going to get into the hating ones.
Oh, no, that's after, man.
That's after?
Yeah, you have to leave it for dessert, bro.
Okay, all right. Hate for dessert. Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right, fine. My starting at number 5.
Yeah, go on.
All right, I've got to put The Simpsons.
Yeah, same for me.
All right. Simpsons, I feel like, is an absolute staple because, firstly, if we're going off the feeling thing, I remember one of the best dreams I ever had was I was in the world. I think it was after like playing Simpsons Hit and Run, which was a fantastic game.
Great game.
I must have like slept in a weird kind of way, and then I was like in the Simpsons world for like, I don't know, it was like 30 glorious minutes.
Were you your physical self or you a Simpsons character?
I'll be honest, I don't know, I didn't see my body. I didn't look in the mirror, and I'm glad I didn't. I don't know what even now, if I think about
black
it.
Sideshow Bob, that's all it would be.
They try to throw the roast in there.
Absolutely.
But no, so it was a good thing I didn't look in the mirror. But I was like I was in the house, it was all like pink, and like everyone was like yellow, and it was like always kind of like sunny. So
that would be a nightmare for me, man.
Nah, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it, bro. But not only just that, but I feel like what Simpsons is and what it has been for like very long time, which is kind of like I don't know, it doesn't almost feel adulty, even though it kind of is. But it always felt like a very family kind of show, because obviously it was around family. Storylines, some of them were great.
Special events
happening, Halloween, all that. Like the person who shot Mr. Burns, and then it was like Maggie and
little murder mysteries and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But also kind of like how they kept up with current times and all those weird like flipping futuristic predictions
Yeah,
and
Donald Trump becoming
stuff.
president.
Yeah, wild stuff. But like, so in terms of all of that kind of all the factors, even now, their latest episodes and stuff like that is very much tied into all the stuff that's been happening now, like technology, people being into all of that. And it's like, it's very refreshing because every time they it got stale for a little bit. Well, I mean, I say that, but I wasn't really watching it then.
I think it did.
But it must have done. I mean, all things do, but it's like it has I feel like a position in everyone's kind of like upbringing. That it's like, this is The Simpsons. Like, you would, if there was nothing else on and you saw it, you wouldn't be like, I'm not gonna watch this. So in terms of like, for me, the feeling, the stories, the like environment especially, it felt like a very active, alive world.
What was the Springfield?
Springfield,
What was the city called again?
No, Springfield. And it was. I remember one time I even had I borrowed a friend's like DVD thing, and he had like 8 collections of it.
Random Simpsons fiend, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I remember I was watching that because I remember there was like nothing else on at the time, and it was like back to back to back to back, and like I said, all of it fell into all of those feelings. You know what I mean? That gave me the first ever warmth feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that
I agree.
Gooey feeling, you know.
Who's your favorite character? I think I'm gonna change, man. We spoke about it last time, but who is your favorite character?
I mean, I think when I was a kid, it was Bart, just because I feel like it was very much pushed.
He was a bit of a menace.
Yeah. But after that, it's Homer.
Yeah.
But now I've matured. I feel like it's Homer. I feel like his interactions to the world is the joke. And
I think he's very human.
Yeah, that's like, what it is.
He shows his humanity, like his good times, his bad times, him being a family man and him messing about sometimes. But for me, I don't know, maybe today I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns, I know.
Oh, Mr. Burns.
I felt that energy. I felt the Mr. Burns energy. When you said hate for dessert, I said,
Mr. Burns being the scum of society, you know, the 1%, the top of the top, the cream of the crop, like doing his factory work and all this stuff, and like he's just been a villain. And he's got his bloody assistant Smithers. But it's just, I think the shenanigans that he gets up to, and like, I think he plays a pivotal role in a lot of storylines. Like he just like I guess he is the villain of the city, right?
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Burns is just funny, man. I think he's just funny, funny old.
Nah, he can be very funny. I just feel like he's not in it as much. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But when he is in it, when it is kind of based around there,
I think he carries a lot of energy.
Nah, he does.
It's like he's got a lot of gravity about his personality.
But I kind of like that. I kind of like they kind of have like one person, I guess, that they kind of use for like different storylines. Like you were saying, like for example, if it's stuff like if they're making fun of like people that are against climate change, or people that are for climate change and like how it looks and wokeism vs this unwokeism thing and stuff like that. They have like different people in different positions that they use to, like, and then Homer is in between all of that kind of like, I don't know which way to go. You know what I mean?
He's just the average working class man who's just getting by while the whole world is affecting him.
That's what
and changing around him. I think
so it's a genuine reaction when he actually has something to say. Whereas
especially when he has something meaningful to say.
But I feel like whereas like Lisa, for example, who's my most jarring character, is I guess pretty much just there for like the exposition, like
Greta Thunberg.
This is what, like you know what I mean. This is what the woke should say. This is what everyone should say. You know. What I mean?
The modern liberal should say.
All of that kind of stuff.
But I mean, I think she is a bit of a jarring character, but it is, I guess, like but the things that she does is nothing negative. Everything is like she wants the world to change in a good, in a better way. But you can still see she's a child who's just doing things in a very direct way without like nuances and understanding the I guess the struggles of life and how it would be difficult to
and how many steps it takes to actually just change that thing.
But man, that's I feel like I've never discussed Simpsons this deep.
Same.
Damn, son. But I think it's also like the rewatchability factor as well. I think you can go rewatch all the Simpsons episodes and enjoy it and find different meanings in it from when you first watched it, you know? Like you said, you matured and you went from Bart to Homer.
Yeah.
I think that's a big factor as well. So, I think that might be our only one that's agreed on in the top 5.
Top 5,
but it stands at 5. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, so now what's your 4?
What's my 4th? I'm gonna have to pull up the notes because I don't remember off the top of my head.
And we also want to hear from you guys as well. You know what I mean? Let us know your top 5 of all time in the comments so we can check it out and we can discuss.
Okay, I got it. Arrested Development.
Cordially. Huh?
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development,
It's a little known, not that well known show, but it's a show about a dysfunctional family. As a common theme, I guess, in my top 5.
Yeah.
Dysfunctional family. Dysfunctional family.
Maybe I feel like I got 3 times. Huh? You said that 3 times. You got something to say?
Yeah, maybe I do. I feel so. It's a show about this family. I think it's like, I don't know where they're based in, like Colorado or something like one of them dry towns in America,
Midwest.
But they're basically like the father or the head of the family. It's called the Bluth family. The head of the family. He's a bit of a sleazebag. He's a bit of one of them, like a bit of a Mr. Burns kind of character. He does a lot of things in a corrupt way, and he traumatizes kids in many ways. But like funny things where, like, for example, he hired this guy who's got an amputated arm. So he's got, I think he's got 2 amputated arms. Yeah, just a random funny story. Like, he hires this guy to scare his kids. Like when they were kids, he would just be like, he'll hire this guy to scare them, just to say anything you do wrong, you're gonna lose an arm. So like there's random scenarios. Like, one of them actually ends up losing his hand, and then he meets the guy. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, he became like me. But there's a random story that he just like traumatizes his kids. He's got a weird relationship with his kids. And he's just so corrupt, and in so many ways, he just does random stuff that are just very funny. But the acting, I feel, is very good, and the writing. I feel like in my top 5, I think across seasons is the most clever writing in terms of the way they pull jokes back from like season 1 into season 3. Like, it's just so clever in my opinion. And like the main character, Michael, I think it was Michael Bluth. He's the main guy in Ozarks as well. So he's like in all the shows. He's played like a real villain, and like it's just so interesting to see him just being like he thinks he's kind of like Steve Carell in Office. He thinks he's like really smart and he's the well kept one in the family, but he just does dumb stuff as well. But he doesn't even realize it himself. Like one time he falls in love with a woman who he thinks, oh, she's British, so she's just weird and quirky. But the woman's actually like like mentally ill. Like, she's got the brain of a 10-year-old. So like she does all these weird things. He's it must be a British thing. But he's like done in a tasteful way that's just funny. But yeah, the characters are just hilarious. Have you seen BoJack Horseman?
Yeah, bits and pieces. Yeah,
like the main, the voice actor of BoJack Horseman, he's like one of the main characters in Arrested Development as well. And he's just hilarious. Like for me, he's probably my favorite character. I think the family vibe, like they always love each other at the end. Like you can still see there's love and there's rapport and charisma. Also, Michael Cera is one of the main characters as well. Like I think he played a role in a lot of the writing. I think he's a really good comedy writer. And like his character is just hilarious in it because like he's a weird guy. Like he's in love with his cousin. Like so then he's always looking for like loopholes in the law. Like can I marry my cousin? In America, like there's random things that he just like his cousin just being friendly with him, but he's just like taking it. Like he thinks, here we go. It's going down. And then there's like other characters like Buster, who's the youngest brother of the family, and he's like got like a mummy tendency, so he's really like a mummy's boy. So like he's always like every time he's dating someone, he's like comparing them to the mum and stuff like that. It's like the characters are all just so broken. For me, it's just so well written. It just becomes funny, like because across seasons, I think the writing really holds it together. I think you've got to watch it to really understand. But that's my number 4. I was gonna say I'll go for my number 3, but I completely forgot it. You haven't said yours yet.
Number 4 for me is Big Bang.
Yeah,
The Big Bang Theory. I think
you swapped out for Fleabag.
For Fleabag, yeah. No, I think in terms of all the other kind of stuff that I was also thinking about in terms of like rewatchability, the feeling, the writing, the storyline. Even though the storyline, I guess, for a good chunk of it wasn't like that great, I think a lot of it was like very well done through writing, in terms of like how they were bringing these scientific nerds and stuff like that into, I guess, understanding societies and just how they were so comfortable living their own life and how they were. And then when you brought in, I guess, like one normal person into it, and then you kind of realize, oh, okay, just how much of a bubble that these guys were like living in.
Yeah.
And like their kind of perspectives of the world and all that kind of stuff. And then like it's just kind of one of those ones where it feels like if it's on in the background, like you would watch it. Like it's got enough to kind of drag you in to like, okay, what they on about, and like even the setting and the environment of it all, and like in that apartment and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, I feel like especially a lot of the shows that I'm going to be mentioning, except one, which is the first one, kind of happened in, I guess, my formative years. I remember like Big Bang was on like E4.
Yeah.
And it would be one of just those like shows that like it would be not before like bedtime, but like around that kind of moment where like you're kind of like proper settled in now, and then just taking it in. So I think it was like the perfect, I guess, thing
Wind
for that.
down evening show kind of thing.
Why that even show? But then on top of that, it was like good enough where like friends would come over to like watch the new episode and stuff like that.
I wasn't there.
Nah, you wasn't there. I don't think you was much of a fan of Big Bang like that. But like,
I would say like it's a good show.
Yeah.
And, like one thing about them is like all the characters, I would say almost all the characters are insufferable. All the nerds in the show, like, they're insufferable, and the idea is kind of to watch them develop and learn about like just living like an average human.
Yeah.
So I guess they're all young adults at the same time.
Yeah.
We don't really understand that as ourselves being like late teens and early 20s.
Yeah.
So like later on you think about it, like I guess they were just in a bubble. They could have easily been like really into the characters in their teens and kids, and then when they actually go and start living by themselves and living with the roommates and that, they start actually developing and dealing with other other personality types, other than just nerds.
Other than just literally.
And I think like there's like what's the main character called that isn't
Sheldon?
Not Sheldon, the other one.
Howard? No, not Howard. Leonard.
Is it Leonard? Yeah.
The one with the glasses.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I feel he gets a lot of spotlight after.
He was kind of the middle ground, essentially.
Yeah, I feel like he was like in the middle ground, like you said, where he was like already a bit more sociable than the others. I think he's the first one to get a girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
So like it's just interesting to watch their development. So I can see why you put it in the top 5, but I don't know. I feel like.
But also like for me, if like as far as writing goes, it was like very complex stuff in terms of like the sciences and stuff like that sometimes they'll be talking about.
Do you think there's real nerds out there that are like, oh, nah, this ain't accurate, man?
I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't have lasted that long if it was.
You think so?
But to bring, I feel like to bring, like, I'm not saying it's the most complex stuff, but it was to not break the facade of, like, let's say, for example, Sheldon being really, really smart, saying, like, proper stuff, but breaking it down in terms of ways we can find it funny. I feel like if it wasn't a lot of it like factually true, I think a lot of people would be like, okay, this is just a lot of like, you know what I mean, nonsense. Why this doesn't make sense?
Calling that out?
A lot of people. There's a whole Reddit.
Oh really?
There's Reddit groups. There's Reddit groups for everything.
Yeah, of course.
There's Reddit groups for microphones and there's for Big Bang. Of course, they would have come out, but it would have not lasted that long if they weren't actually. But obviously, I don't think it was as complex as we would maybe.
Why would you put it ahead of Simpsons? Is the question for me.
I put it ahead of Simpsons because the writing, the storyline.
You think so?
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the time, obviously, it was kind of like, okay, reset, repeat, something else in both. But I feel like as an episode goes, sometimes the Simpsons would just be just random stuff, because you can't have random stuff in cartoons. You can literally just throw a bulldozer into the city.
Yeah.
Because it's just animations. But with this one, it's like you kind of have to craft it. And so in terms of that, it was like every episode felt a bit more crafted than Simpsons.
I guess the one other positive about it, like, goes back to the environment factor. I feel like you really feel like you're one of their roommates. Like, you're in that apartment with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to number 3.
Number 3, yeah.
For me, like, you don't have to look back. Man, these kids are cooked, man. Too much TikTok and all this. But, for me, Everybody Hates Chris. I put that as number 3. I think is my number 1 family show.
Yeah.
In terms of that relatability factor, where I said that, damn. Like, I saw my mom and dad do all this. I see my siblings do all this. Like, it just so relatable to me, and the characters are so funny. Like, I didn't think I need to talk much about it. I think that show really does like set levels where there's also, I feel like there's never any quiet like episode where it's like a filler episode or something.
Yeah.
Like, there's a really well written story from start to finish, and the narration of Chris Rock, like, that just carries over.
Yeah.
And like, there's fourth wall breaking moments as well. Like the setting of Brooklyn in the 80s or whatever, like, it
proper feels alive there.
Yeah, you really feel immersed into their environment, and like everything that like just random things where his mom leaves some chicken in the fridge for the dad when the dad is meant to come back. I think that might be the first episode. The dad's at work or whatever. He's already working several jobs, so he's got to eat his food, right? Yeah, he's a hungry man. I was like, I'm sure I've done that before to my dad as well. Like, so Chris goes and eats chicken or whatever, but like, just like also, like, I guess the social commentary as well. Like, it's just done in such a tasteful way. Like, all the racism at that time, like the Jew, like his best friend's a Jew. He's like a little random Jew kid who's into the same kind of stuff as him. So kind of showing the diversity there. And then you got Caruso, who's the bully on the block, and then like how they develop. And I think the teachers as well are interested in. You got random characters on the streets. Like buddy,
let me hold $1.
Yeah, let me hold $1. Yeah, like stuff like that. Like you really feel like the environment of like you are there
in that time.
Like, us like growing up in like suburban London, like you did deal with some characters occasionally that like that would be like kind of shifty like that. Then there was actually a character called Shifty, I think.
Shifty.
Yeah. And like he had a little theme tune every time he come like Shifty. Like, I think it's so well written, and acting is so good and natural, and like nothing feels forced. So like I think the show speaks for itself. Like
absolutely. You know, the crazy thing is, it seems we have another match.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I think I might have misranked it, but I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not too fussed about it.
Nah, yeah, same. I mean, for me, number 3 was Everybody Hates Chris as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I even remember, like, when the trailer was coming out for it.
Trailer?
That's what I'm saying. I remember it must have been obviously just before Prison Break. Yeah.
Oh, Prison Break.
Prison Break was a good one, but
definitely
not a sitcom. I mean, for serial killers, maybe it might be a sitcom. But no, but yeah, so, and then I remember it, but when I first saw it, it was like, probably, I think at that time, the most relatable thing that I've seen.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, cool, here it like, it wasn't trauma dumping or none of that. It was just kind of like, this is the situation that we grew up in, and this is the humor aspect of it. But it was never like
that's one thing.
Woe is me kind of aspect.
We always see the funnier side.
Yeah. Like, it's a family, and they're obviously getting by. The husband's got 2 jobs.
My man got 2 jobs.
Yeah, and she's not saying it in like a bad way. She's actually proud of this thing. You know what I mean? And he's keeping the family together, and they keep messing up. Like, it's like an actual, real bustling family in a real environment. And it's actually kind of crazy. In Brazil, she's like really, really famous, the mum.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like the first black show that they would actually show, and like that again wasn't Woe Is Me.
Yeah.
And a lot of them like related to the mum.
Yeah.
And I think we could all kind of relate to the mum as well. You know what I mean? So, like I said, from top to bottom, it was the most relatable thing I think I saw at that time growing up. I was like, okay, cool. Here we go. Yeah.
So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is My Wife and Kids.
Oof, that's the one thing I didn't put in my top 5.
My Wife and Kids. Wow, where to I think that show, like, in terms of making me like laugh. Yeah, like barely laughs.
Yeah.
It has to be that one, because I don't think, as a lead, Michael Cowell, what's his name, Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. He doesn't even sometimes have to do much, but I think it's also a testament to the writing because it builds it up so that even just the look is the punchline.
Yeah.
And Junior being, you know what I mean, if you like crackheads and offshoot characters.
Yeah, I do like Junior. Yeah. You know, I like that
you
stuff.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's and like him just being bald from the start. You know what I mean? But like in terms of like him and how he kind of sees the world, but the way he sees the world is like he's not actually that kind of. He's not like dumb.
Yeah.
Which is like, for example, like Homer, you could kind of say, Homer's just like a bit dumb.
He's street smart.
He's street smart.
Yeah.
But like but he finds the comedy in other people and the situations around his family, in such a nice tight knit way.
Yeah.
And then when you add on characters like Cat Williams, it just, you know what I mean?
I would say he's probably the wittiest main lead out of any of the shows.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like in terms of pure wit,
Yeah.
like, I think, and that's testament to the writing, like you said. It's a shame that I haven't put it in my top 5, but I feel like maybe because I haven't watched it in so long, it's kind of not fresh in my memory. Like
Yeah,
that.
it won't take you much to change your mind. I mean,
Yeah.
if you see like a couple of the episodes, like it's just, I think him as well is like just the perfect lead. I don't know, I haven't seen a better lead.
Yeah. I'll say there's one lead that's my number 2 that can match him.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna probably give that a watch.
Yeah.
After the current show I'm watching, which is my number 1, I'm on season 5 of that now. So the 7th season, I'm almost there.
Yeah.
So taking my time with it, and enjoying it, relishing it. But my number 2, Fresh Prince. I think Will Smith in Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
The most charismatic character I've watched as a lead.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of matches that Michael Caine. He might not be as witty, and I think maybe he relies on characters around him as much.
Yeah.
But I think Will Smith, the most charismatic character of any show I've ever watched, like just him, but his personality himself. You really did feel like that was him.
Yeah.
And it's a shame to see where his career's kind of gone in recent years. I would say, but there was a point where I was like, this guy might be the best actor of all time. But
yeah, his range was ridiculous.
Yeah, like there was what was it? The Pursuit of Happiness, Hancock, the iRobot.
Yeah.
Like, when he was in that run, I feel like he was really up there, like at the top of his game.
Yeah.
And like obviously starting his career with Fresh Prince, I don't know how they found him. Such a perfect fit for the role.
Yeah. He forced it a lot of himself because he used to be like a rapper before.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, what about the idea of me coming from Philly into a rich neighborhood?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you can like his all-round package as an entertainer is really evident in Fresh Prince. And then you add in the rest of the family dynamic, the immersion of the household, the fact that a lot of us didn't grow up in a rich household like him. So like him taking us into that world.
Yeah, it's like you're going in there with him.
Really understanding what like a new life will be for like someone like that. So it's kind of it's really interesting to hear that change of environment and how it affects him. And then obviously coming into an environment where he's living with his auntie and uncle, and like their relationship with him and how they grow to really love him. Obviously they love him already, but like in the beginning he's a bit of an annoying late teens, whatever. And whether they really grow to love him and respect him as a man. But you have all his shenanigans going on, and the other characters around him, his cousins. I think Carlton Banks is a very funny side character, and then like even the dynamic of him and his cousins themselves. Where I said it before, but I feel like it's a bit understated. The idea that someone will come into your family as a man and kind of get all the attention, where you're the only son before. I think Carlton really does feel like that, and he comes across in the screen. And then other characters like Jazzy and like the iconic things like where Jazzy getting thrown out of the house and stuff like that.
And Uncle Phil, of course.
Yeah, Uncle Phil, incredible actor, incredible character. Not much to be said about that either. That's another one that speaks for itself.
I would say like even to touch up on that, it's like it's kind of crazy because it shows obviously because he's come from, I guess you could say, a poorer place, right, compared to them. And usually when you're from a poor place, you're a bit more like yourself. You're more normal, and like in terms of normal, I mean like you're more expressive. You say what you want to say. You do what you want to do, and you're just a normal human being. Whereas in that upper class kind of region, you're in a position now where people are like constrained. And like, no, you have to act proper, you have to do proper, you have to sit proper, and he's very much against all of that. But then I love the dynamic how like they're more, instead of closing and refining him, they kind of open up more. And then they become a lot more, you know what I mean,
relaxed.
human and relaxed in terms of stuff.
And that's testament to his charisma, I would say.
Because he does it, he annoys you, I guess, in a charming way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not like, this flipping guy.
Insufferable kind
You
of
know
thing.
what I mean? Yeah.
And then the humor as well, it's subtle. It's like My Wife and Kids is like, it's hilarious, right? But it's written as a comedy show.
Yeah.
But like Fresh Prince is like the kind of humor that you have on a day to day with your family.
Yeah.
I think that kind of comes across in that way. Like
Yeah.
you kind of have these little jokes with your mum and dad, and your siblings. Like that's how it feels for me. And like that feeling. When you say feeling, I think this is like the one show that really has that immersive
All
feeling
of that
for me.
stuff, yeah.
That's why I rank it a little bit above Everybody Hates Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very close in terms of that too.
Still a good shout.
You say, what was your number 2?
No, I said number 2 was My Wife and Kids.
I forgot.
Who's your number 1? Numero uno.
Malcolm in the Middle, man.
Maybe
Bang it
Malcolm
out.
in the middle. Hey?
I don't know why. Maybe it's a time in my
All
life.
time?
Yeah, right now is my all-timer. Right now it is.
The best ever?
I think, because, all right, cool. Like I said, the villain themes that I've been going with today, yeah. Every character is a villain in Malcolm in the Middle. There's no inherently good character.
I think it's the black shirt you put on today, man.
Maybe.
Usually you always have a
It's
white shirt.
the Black
You're a lot more
Spider-Man.
positive.
The Black Spider-Man costume. Yeah. You got the black cat. But,
Venom, yeah.
yeah, it might be the Venom outfit. But yeah, I think the insufferable nature of all the characters is written in such a charming way. The writing itself, I think I haven't seen any other show where, right now I'm on season 5, 20 episodes per season. Short episodes, like 20-minute episodes, whatever. But I haven't seen any season where it's slowed down in terms of the writing quality.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
And there is a bit of a storyline. You're seeing the kids growing up. I think this is the best child acting I've ever seen.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Best child acting I've ever seen. I think incredible child acting. And the way they grow as the show grows is crazy to see. And then you got the main family, the main dysfunctional family. Like I keep saying, dysfunctional family. Like, this is really a dysfunctional family. The dad and mum are like, they got a bit of honor about them, but they're assholes themselves, innit? Like they'll have arsehole moments. The mum's a bit of a Karen sometimes, but she still doesn't. Like she's still a loving character. Like you can see she's a good person. But the dad's he's a good guy as well. But he does arsehole things as well. So you can see like the worst of them really did imprint on their kids like from the beginning. But then as the seasons grow, you kind of see the kids grow, and like it's just so funny, man. I think in terms of humor, it is the most clever written out of any show I've ever watched, and the way they pull things back, and the arsehole nature of everyone in the show is written in such a clever way.
You say you enjoyed that.
I enjoy it. It's incredible, incredible. And then like I said, the child acting. I don't know how they found these kids because they almost look alike as well. Yeah, and like for me. Like I said about Fresh Prince of Family.
Also, it's a tough ask, the stuff that they try and get them to convey. Yeah. Even like the little one as well. A lot of it is through actions and
from impression, body language.
Yeah, body language.
Not the script. Right? I don't know how they found these kids. Yeah, like what these kids must be acting from birth. They must have been telling them, you know, this is how you need to act from day one. And like, I don't know how they found these kids. Yeah, but they blend so well together, and like you got the older son Francis, who he gets sent to bloody military college because he's been from the first episode they show like how much madness he's done to his parents. So he gets sent to military college to like just grow up, like become a mature person. So they show all his shenanigans in military college as if that was a whole separate show, but you still feel immersed in his little military college and like all the little weird characters in his environment as well. And then along the way he's like just beefing his mum and dad all the time, like over the phone and all this. Like he's you can just see like the love they have for each other, but also like the amount of trauma they've caused each other.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's just so. I think that's a very different way of approaching family dynamic. Yeah, like where you have someone who's almost estranged. Yeah. Like that's a very interesting way that I haven't seen other shows do. And then you got the main family where the idea of Malcolm in the middle. Malcolm is like the kind of middle child, and then like his family is like a middle class American family. Not middle class, like middle American family, like working class, and like all the struggles that they're dealing with, like in their life. And like I said about Homer earlier, he's just like functioning while the world around him is changing.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Malcolm Middle. Like the whole family is just like they're just living, but they're quite
doing
poor.
stuff,
They're quite poor compared to a lot of people. And then Malcolm himself is meant to be a child genius, which I think is conveyed in a very clever way. But he's kind of like Leonard in Big Bang, where he's kind of like, I'm not a nerd like these other nerds that he has to be in school with. There's actually, they have a name in his school where they're called the Krellboyns.
They're called the what?
Krellboyns.
Krellboyns?
Krellboyns. Yeah. They're the group of nerds that he has to be in his class with. Because he got moved from average classes to their nerd class. Yeah. So, like, I could say they're almost like a young cast of Big Bang Theory. Like, just the Krellboyns themselves. You'll find that Big Bang Theory humor in there. And then, like, you have things like one of the Krellboyns, who becomes Malcolm's best friend, is Stevie, who's the black disabled kid. Like the way they treat race and disability and that social commentary around that in such a funny way and clever way, where they're not scared to go into it, but they still do things in a non-offensive way, and like just poke fun at all this stuff. I think, and then the parents, like I said, they're just, you can see the day-to-day life that they're struggling with. Like, their kids causing them problems. Like things like in America, obviously you got to pay for your medical care and that. Like, kids will just do dumb stuff and then they end up in hospital and stuff. But the family's always struggling to make ends meet and stuff like that. And like you're seeing like the chaos around them and like the real stress of being a parent in like a lower class family. And how like little things like that could really impact your livelihood. And like for me, that all of that really, I think it covers so much variety in terms of writing, and because the acting is so good. Like I feel like, because you know the acting. I think that's one thing. You know the acting, but you can almost feel like that's their personalities in real life.
There's some underlying truths.
But I think characters like Reese, for example, he's just so funny. He's like, he's the second oldest, but he's really like kind of taken after his older brother. He's like the known bully in school, but he's self-aware. He knows nobody likes him. Like he's self-aware about all this, and then randomly he picks up interest in cooking, and he's become an incredible chef.
Oh wow!
As a teenager, like his parents are like, what the hell? How's this guy pulled this out of nowhere? So, and then Dewey, he's the younger brother in the beginning. He's the youngest one, and he just does crazy stuff. Like one clip I sent you. His bag gets ripped, and his mom's tired of him like always ripping up his stuff. So she's like, go get one from the closet. He goes and picks up one of her handbags. And he's like 7 years old at the time. He's walking around with the handbag, and then his older brother Reese, who's like trying to be the class bully. He's like, nah, my younger brother can't be seen like this. Things like that brotherhood kind of feel things like that. He's like, my brother can't be seen like this. And then there's one time where he thinks that Dewey's about to get beaten up, like he's about to get bullied because of the bag. And then Dewey just starts swinging it around, knocking the guys out. And it turns out he's got a brick.
He's got a brick inside.
He's got a big brick in there. Like, things like that. It's just so funny. Like there's times where like Reese is like he like Dewey. Like there's one time Dewey pranks him. Like he hits him with a Mazda. Like he used a catapult and hits him with a watermelon. Like knocks him out. And then Reese like he's like, you know what, I really instead of like telling him off, he's like, you know what, I respect the way you did that, but I'm gonna knock you out now, innit? Like they're just little and then he gives like little random life lessons. The way you see like dysfunctional people giving each other life lessons, and it's not like a case of they get along, they cause so much trauma to each other, but they always come back to being a loving family, which is I think it's just a really great all-round show, a bit of everything for everyone for me.
Absolutely. I mean,
give it a watch, man.
I can hear from that loving,
passionate.
I'm
enjoying it, man.
Breakdown of it.
I'm enjoying it.
Well, word. I mean, I knew it was a good show as a kid, but I didn't know it was like that.
I think you got to rewatch it as an adult.
Yeah. But I would say my number one, right, to have a little caveat, is that I think for a very long time, I think we're very used to like coming of age movies, you know what I mean? Like those like typical teenager becoming an adult first time experience and stuff. Oh my God, wow, blah, blah, blah. Like it's really wholesome and people really enjoy those kind of stuff and, you know, for the formative years, etc. But there really isn't a coming of like age, but like an adult version. Kind of like when you get beyond that teenage realm into like the real life thing where now you got to look at marriage, you gotta look at like starting actual life, like work, etc., all this kind of stuff, right?
Developing your career.
Developing your career, where you're gonna end up
Yeah.
Have you ended up where you dreamt of being as a kid?
Yeah.
Maybe not realizing and dealing with that. So my number one show is How I Met Your Mother. And I think it came at a very pivotal time. Funny enough, it was like, I can't remember when it was, but it was a TikTok that did this for me, right? It was a TikTok, and it was basically, it was someone that understood that kind of feeling of like, this is what the overall show was, of like these guys in their late 20s and now they're trying to like, they're going in different paths, trying to figure out different stuff in their lives.
You haven't even said the bloody show name yet. Are you coming to it?
I did, no? How I
you
Met Your
didn't.
Mother.
You didn't.
Huh?
You didn't. I'm
Pretty sure I did.
No, I don't think
Nah,
you
we'll
did.
run it back. We'll run this back.
Yeah, no, I don't think you did.
Nah, so it's How I Met Your Mother, which basically, what was I?
Bro, that's his train of thought.
No, so so the main guy, for example, if we look at him, obviously I think the show name itself is something that progresses the storyline as we kind of go along. It's like, okay, cool, this is how we're going to find the mum. And then for me as well, it's the intricate ways of like they hint towards the mum. For example, the yellow umbrella. Every time you kind of see that, you're getting towards seeing the mum. Every time you see like purple, it's this isn't the one. So like the woman you think is going to be the mum ends up coming out in like a purple dress, and then everyone's like, oh wait, hang on, this isn't the thing. And you kind of really clock that only after you kind of look back, because it does also have the rewatchability thing, because it is funny as well. But it's like, for me, it came at a time where, now we're getting older, we're getting to a different part where like school's over, uni's over, all these kind of different things are over. Now it's like on you to figure out what the future is. Like the pathway kind of essentially isn't set for you anymore. It's not like, here's your timetable for the next 5 years in this school. It's kind of like right now, if you wanted to quit, technically you could quit. Or if you want to find this job, you could. Like there's literally
a bum, you could.
there's literally nothing stopping you now.
Yeah.
So that means it's kind of like essentially all on you, and it's like all these friends that kind of understand that are all kind of in it together. And obviously the main plot line is him finding his wife, but it's also kind of finding their path and how they're going to end up. And like I said, that TikTok, for example, was about one of the characters who she basically, when she was younger, wanted to become an artist. But then as she grew up, like they kind of put it as like settled for being a teacher. Yeah. Because she couldn't reach that thing. And so what she does is she's got like this fiance, and then she leaves him to pursue that goal, to become an artist. Because she's like, this is what I wanted as a kid. This is my dream, it's always been, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes there to try and fulfill her dreams. Then she realizes that maybe this isn't what she wants. Yeah. And that it's okay that your dreams can change. And like, if you was a kid and you wanted to just be a footballer and you didn't become a footballer, you still like in the back of your head, like, oh, if only I did this. And if I had this trial, maybe I could have, you're beating yourself up for it. It's kind of like these paths can change for everyone. And then there was even in terms of, and so it's like so many like I guess kind of like life lessons as you're kind of getting older and stuff. Like,
do you feel like it just
resonates
coming to you at a really personable time?
Yeah, I feel like when I was younger, I watched it as a kid. Yeah, but like it was more for the comedy. And like Barney's character. But like the older I get and the more like I'm kind of around the age that they were in, which was like their late 20s, early 30s, it's kind of like, okay, cool. There is that shifting moment when people get to that age, which is kind of like, okay, now what? You know what I mean? Because everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, when you're younger, you're supposed to enjoy your time and like do this and blah, blah, blah and whatnot. But then when you're young, you're like, I should really be setting up my future. Yeah, yeah. So you're in this weird kind of like limbo, yeah. And then when you get into 30s, everyone's like, oh, 30s is like old and whatever it may be.
Well, as a early 20, you'll say that,
yeah. Yeah, so it's like, it's a weird kind of thing, but it's like you're not actually old in that sense. You're just kind of maturing and maturing and maturing. Yeah. And things will change. What you want now might not be what you get. And that is also okay. So yeah, like I said, it was like, and then even the small stuff, like I really like it's very self-referential. Same, like so much so that the jokes that they say become like inside jokes that you're a part of.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're very much part of like this gang of like people older than you that are figuring out things, and you're kind of like, okay, cool, you do have time to figure stuff out, but like it's. Then there was one part I will say to kind of wrap this up on, which was kind of like in one of the earlier parts, he's at one place, and then where he's at, his wife was there, like the woman that he'll meet. But he didn't meet her then. He actually got punched by a guy because he was like talking to his fiance or something like that. And then he said something which is like really profound. Well, to me, it was kind of like, and I'm glad I didn't meet her then because I wasn't the person I was meant to be for her at that time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like all these opportunities and stuff like that you might not get now.
Yeah.
That you might feel like, damn, I missed out on something. You might not actually be the person that was ready for it. You might not be ready enough to take on that task right now. So, and when the time comes, then you are, you know. So I think for many
philosophical there.
Yeah, bro, there's so like the depths to that, like you can layer it down is ridiculous. Like they have a whole book on it. So I would say that's my numero uno.
Good shout. And I guess like it's one of them shows where it's one of the more popular shows that kind of had the theme of Friends, but it took it to another level.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Friends is a bit of a surface level comedy. Like you got characters like Joey, you're just funny for the sake of it.
Yeah, Friends.
But and a lot of people do love that show. Like that apartment vibe, young adult, like you said. But yeah, like you said, I think it does take it to a more personable level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't watched it for some time, so I guess I'll have to rewatch that one as well. But in terms of our top 5, that's it.
All right, so just for the fans, quick rundown. Your top 5.
Top 5. Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yours?
No, one each. Like, I mean, say your top 5 and then I'll say my top 5.
Simpsons Arrested Development, Everyday It's Chris, Fresh Prince, and Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, I'm right. And my one was Simpsons, Big Bang Theory, Everybody Hates Chris, My Wife and Kids, and How I Met Your Mother. Let us know what you guys think about that list and that ranking. If you agree with it, if not, then obviously let us know what you guys think.
Interested to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of the let's say things that I find that some shows that are popular that I really didn't enjoy.
This is the hateful dessert.
Yeah, this will have to end. Dessert. Like people who love Friends.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit mid. Right?
Very mid.
You haven't watched it enough. I feel like people really like that show, but then you know what? People like surface level humor as well. That's the thing. But for me, like the writing isn't witty enough and deep enough. Friends, The Office, I just feel like it's a bit forced.
That I can't agree with you.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's I don't know. Is it Michael that's
forced? I can't vibe with that. I just don't know.
What part
I think
of it
it's the whole nature of like everybody kind of doing the fourth wall breaking kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, only one person really is doing it.
But the whole camera angle thing, I think is the first show that's popularized it.
Well, I mean,
like everyone just looking at the camera. Like, I feel like there's a lot of characters that just have those moments where they're looking into the camera. And I get it. It's kind of self-humor. It's poking fun at the situation rather than characters, and it is meant to be a parody kind of thing. But I don't know, man. It just feels unnatural to me.
I gotta disagree on that one. Friends, I can agree, but
let me tell you this other theme that I've picked up over the years. People love actual trauma. Like I've seen people really enjoying this Baby Reindeer show.
I've heard about it,
But it's literally
people
about
banging off. Yeah,
I'm gonna give spoilers right now. I didn't read the plot. I know someone that watched it that told me about it. But basically, the guy that's been raped before.
Oh wow.
He's
straight to it.
He's dealing with a stalker basically.
Yeah.
And then turns out that the actor in the show is based on the real character. He is the real character.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but apparently they
interviewed the woman, huh?
People found the actual stalker in real life, and she ended up being on the Piers Morgan show.
Yeah.
Some real Black Mirror stuff. Like, what the hell is going on there?
Yeah, she was saying that's not me.
But people enjoy this stuff. Like, I don't know why people enjoy like trauma, like traumatizing shows. I think
because it gives you feels, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Like people, it's kind of like, I guess, Black Mirror.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very much like,
But there's positive feels. I don't know, man. I don't know why people love that traumatizing feeling, or watching other people's trauma. But then there's shows like Suits, where we thought it was good back in the day.
yeah.
When you look at it back now, if you watch it now, sure, there's a whole
You know
pile
what?
of
Though I never fully
contradictions.
finished it. I kind of
Nobody
left
wants
it
to-
like.
there's a
season
reason
5.
why.
Yeah.
Because it kind of got old, right?
It just was. It got a bit
Same formula.
stale a little bit. you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I feel like if you watch it back now, it is a bit mid. But another one, for some
Hey,
reason,
we got the Venom
another
era
one
right
that's
now.
very popular for no good reason. Yeah, bloody Arrow and the Flash, the worst superhero shows of all time. I don't know.
Arrow, I didn't see too much of.
Arrow was hot garbage. It was
was it
worse than
actually?
the Flash,
Goodness.
but people loved it for some reason.
First season Flash though.
No.
That was actually right.
The best, I think the best superhero show that we kind of grew up on, Smallville Superman.
Yeah, that's
An incredible show.
Elite, yeah,
That was elite. Like
Yeah.
that really made me enjoy it. Like that
Yeah.
vibe of Superman as a young man.
Yeah.
Like Arrow and Flash tried to recreate that.
Yeah.
They were nowhere near that level. I'm trying to think of some more. But what about you? Any that you think are overpopular, like
No, you know what?
overrated?
The funny thing is that I don't even if I like a show, I barely finish it, which is weird.
Yeah. I feel like you're not very patient.
Huh?
You're not very patient with
Nah,
shows.
I don't know. It's like I might even like it. Like I said, like I just won't like. I liked season 1 of Flash. Why did I not see season 2?
Because probably got stale and
I don't know. Like, but I didn't
the
even give it
villains
a
are
chance
so
to get
dumb in the
thing.
Flash.
But nah, there's a lot. I feel like after this, I'm gonna kick myself because I'm gonna be remembering a lot of shows. I'm just like, this is, you know what I mean? But there are so many shows I
Yeah.
can think of.
But watch the ones that we recommended. Give them a try first. Have a think about what we said.
Absolutely.
You might kind of enjoy them. You never know. But it's a third rehearsal of our favorite sitcoms and why we think a sitcom is great. Here's one last question before just to trade off. Why do you think we enjoy watching sitcoms?
I think again, it's because it's like visually resting.
Yeah.
All right. Meaning is there is no real like trauma dumping.
Yeah.
There is no like you have to sit and listen to the plot and watch the plot. You don't have
most
to
of them,
like
yeah.
be immersed in this thing. Just kind of like sitting back and like at a comedy show where someone's like, I'm
At your
gonna
own
now
pace.
make you laugh for the next 30 minutes or at least be uplifted and trying to entertain you.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that a good show
Yeah.
will like do for you. And
Okay.
then you can like, it's not like, oh my God, what did I miss in the first one to understand the second one?
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like now you're actually sitting with these people in like different dynamics longer than you would in any other like kind of medium,
Yeah.
you know?
Great. I'll say I couldn't put it any better.
Oh, thank you very much.
So yeah, seeing your boys Sharkz and Mohammed from Papertrails. Sitcoms. Let us know what your favorite ones are, and if you enjoyed, watch our favorite shows. And after you've enjoyed those, you can drop us a like, some ratings, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It will really help us out. And we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.